Hi, I'm going to show you how to make little books today. And here's the soap dough. And you want to know how mica affects, different micas affect cold processed soap, make some soap dough with it, and you'll know right away because there's some micas that I use and I haven't located any of the actual chemicals that change the consistency of the soap, but I can use the exact same recipe and put mica in it, and one mica will change it and another mica won't change it, which when I say change it, it's the goal is to have this consistency right here where you can touch it, it's pliable, it's moldable, and it doesn't stick, and you don't need cornstarch in order to keep it from sticking. That's ideal for me. And I made this with the bronze brown from Nurture Soap. I'm super pleased with it. It's the darkest brown I've ever made. And you can see the mica in it. You probably can't, but I can see the mica reflection in it, which is so beautiful. And also, I used the same brown for the pipes, the little pipes, that I collaborated with Katie Carson. I don't know, I think it's Katie White Carson. I don't know if she hyphenates her name. But anyway, from Royalty Soap. And so I used this brown, which is so fun. I'm gonna make some books today. So my next soap is going to be a stack of books like this. I don't know, you can see. But I didn't really, I thought maybe I put a brown one in between to give it a little bit more contrast. And I'm going to scent it with black tea, which is a sorcery blend that I make that has actually no black tea fragrance oil. And I stumbled on it and I'm so pleased with it. So I'm going to make a whole soap with it. And it's going to be pink. The only brown is going to be this. So I make a couple of these, and I usually make 11 or 12 because I get 10 or 11 bars out of the batches that I make. So I like to have one extra to keep as a reminder of how I made something, because I make so much stuff I forget, and then I could reconstruct it or break it apart after I've seen it and remember how I did something. I also make bars of soap like this that are actual bars of soap. I haven't made those in a while, but they're fun. And so what do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That would be good. Okay. So there, I don't know if you can see. And then it gets like these creases in it, and if you don't work out the air bubbles to it and smooth these creases, when you roll it, it cracks. And soap dough is really unique in the way that it has its own character properties. It doesn't behave like clay exactly, and it doesn't behave like fondant exactly. So the more things that you make, even if you don't share them with other people, the more experience you get, the better you're going to understand. Maybe you could see how, I can't really see what you're seeing, so there? Okay. So, and then we want to make the inside part, the pages. So, clean this up. I just saw Katie's Skittles video, which is so fun. She's just delightful, and I'm really grateful that she and I connected. I had a ton of fun making those books and all that stuff for her Sherlock Holmes video. And the thing that's so fun for me is like that I make it and I don't tell anybody about those things, so I'm in this space of keeping a secret and being all happy about how I'm making something and can't wait to share it. So I took some pictures and I sent it to her, and she was happy with them. And then, you know, wrapping them and putting them in a way so that they're not damaged while they get there. And I gave her a couple extras in case they were, but she said they came through really well. And so I shipped them to her, and then crossing my fingers, making sure they showed up and that she's just as delighted as I am about it, and she was happy. And then to see the video Oh my gosh, I couldn't be happier about the situation. It was really fun. And you know, you can design, or I think, I can design my life however I am comfortable living it. And that doesn't mean I have to follow everybody else's rules, but I'm not trying to break anything either. And I find the interesting thing is, like, some of you know from my blog that I have this trigeminal neuralgia issue. And I've been grinding my teeth for years. And I had when I was a kid, I had a tooth that didn't come down. And so it stayed in the roof of my mouth. And what they thought to do at the time was to remove all the teeth that were associated with that one tooth. So they took the baby tooth out. I had a baby tooth when I was like 10 or something. So they took the baby tooth, they did some oral surgery, they went up through the roof of my mouth and took that grown-up tooth that had impacted in the roof of my mouth. And then they took the complementary teeth around my mouth and put braces on me. Well, apparently your body doesn't really like that behavior. And so consequently, ever since then, I grind my teeth. And at night, I grind my teeth so incredibly hard. I grind through every splint that I've ever had, which a splint is something to keep your teeth protected so you don't grind your teeth. Because I will, wear my teeth down. And the process is that it locks up the muscles in your jaw and can affect that trigeminal nerve, which is the nerve that comes out of the jaw, the joint. So what happens is that it's so painful, they call it the suicide disease, and it's so painful that a lot of people can't deal with it. I've had 2 kidney stones, and those are a walk in the park compared to this process. So I don't sleep a lot, so sometimes I don't get online, I don't do stuff, I don't talk. It's really made me see how not important most of the stuff I say is. And it helps me to write, you know, I'm trying to see the benefits of it. It helps me to write because I have to focus on different aspects of what I'm capable of, how I'm capable of communicating. But so the reason I'm bringing this up is because that's what I've been going through, and why sometimes, you know, I don't like to talk on the phone. I don't, you know, I'm good right now. I took a bunch of ibuprofen and iced my jaw and all that. But so I was saying that, you know, you have to do the things that you feel comfortable with, as long as you're not living in a superstition, or in my mind, in a superstition. So I went to this dentist yesterday, and he's super nice and everything, but he really couldn't hear that I was telling him. And so I ended up spending a bunch of money, which sucks, but it got me my mind open enough to find someone else. And so I have an appointment, because people that have TMJ or bruxism or trigeminal neuralgia, you know, I've already been to a surgeon, and you know, somebody with a hammer only sees nails, and I don't want surgery. I think because it goes into remission, so there has to be another way. So where it'll go into remission and I won't have any pain whatsoever. This has been going on, mostly on, where I just sleep all day, for a month now. And so you know, I don't want to have these too many. I want to have a course of action in order to handle this and not feel like a victim to my own body. So as much as I wanted this guy, this new dentist is super nice and everything, but I just got a feeling about it that, you know, some of his suggestions were things I've already tried, and I felt like, why would I continue to try things that don't work? And I felt like I didn't have any choice. And so right before my appointment today, I had to go back today, right before my appointment, I decided to look somebody else up. And I found this new doctor, and her reviews are good, and she specializes in the pain of it, and she specializes in, you know, TMJ. So I can't get in for another month, which I'm okay with, because I'm in pain now, so at least I have a little bit of hope. Right this second, it's just popping off as I'm talking. So I'll have to be quiet the rest of the day. But anyway, but I realized that if you don't think you have choices, then you're just going to take what's in front of you. And now I realize I do have a choice. And there's always choices. It's just that you might not know them. And I couldn't even believe, I mean, and here's the thing, if he'd been mean or something, I would have been like, you know, easy enough, but he wasn't. He is super nice, this dentist. But I just don't feel like, it's like talking to somebody who only works on a Windows computer and thinks that that's the best. And when you work on a Mac, which I do, and you know the ins and outs of that, and they can't really understand where you're coming from. It doesn't mean that they're a bad person or, you know, that they're inexperienced. They're probably really great with a PC, but when it comes to that, you know, not so much. So anyway, I'm hopeful. And, you know, we all have our burdens to bear. Everybody does. Everybody has like pain of some sort. You know, maybe you have an emotional pain or psychological pain or, you know, but it's just what you're stuck with. You know, I don't think anybody would consciously sign up and go, oh yes, I'll take that life and those pains. You know, maybe on some level. I mean, I have the choice whether to see it as, you know, I could take care of myself, or I can, you know, be the victim and stay in the pain. So now this soap right here, I've gotten some pieces of brown in it, so it will never be perfectly clean. But that's okay, I don't care, because I use pieces of white all the time that don't matter if they have stuff in it. And this will last for quite a while. My white is the best. I know a lot of people like to have the vegan stuff, the vegan soap, and somebody pointed out to me that it's not entirely vegan if there's silk in it. So I took the silk out. I stopped putting silk in my palm-based soap dough, and I try not to please everybody. But if you're, you know, nice about it and you ask me, I'll do something if I can. And so I did. But you know, there's something about the lard-based soap dough that is just ridiculously better. And I understand people's philosophies and whatnot. I don't have those same ones, so I use both and I offer both. I saw a documentary the other day about what they do with palm oil, and some of it is because it's unregulated. I mean, for crying out loud, the United States is supposed to be regulated. We have FDA approval, and they recently just let out a report that says that the FDA approved all these carcinogens. So how much are we trustworthy versus a third world country that has even less regulations and greater corruption? Ha! But nonetheless, the point I'm trying to make is that I watched this documentary, and what they do with palm, they try to regulate it so it's, you know, it's not as harmful as just clear cutting. But either way, they clear cut. Sometimes they go through and pick the trees and leave other trees in order to not devastate the land and the environment and make it uninhabitable for animals. But once they do clear cut, what they do is they burn it back. And that makes sense. That's what every farmer does, is they'll burn it back periodically, which is fine. But if you burn this particular environment back where the palm oil trees have been growing, the peat can catch on fire. And apparently that pollution is far more contaminating to our environment than anything else. Now, I don't know if that's completely true, so you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I can't imagine that thousands of acres of burning peat moss is good for our environment. So it's a double-edged sword. I also don't like the way they handle our animals in captivity that we husband and raise for food. And so there you go. It's just, you try to do the best you can with what you have. I can't change the world. I really have tried, and people don't want to listen to logic. They'd rather listen to emotions, and those that scream the loudest get the most attention. Might be my karma as far as why my jaw acts up and I can't speak. I don't know. Anyway, so here we go. Not to go on and on, because I can, and this is probably what, again, once more, why my jaw acts up and I'm not supposed to speak too much. Okay. So that's separate, and then
of water.
And open the book up, put just a little bit of water in it, and let it set. Right now, it's too moldable to actually do anything with, because if I do something with it, it'll leave track marks or, you know, drag marks in it. And what I've learned is if I let it set a little bit longer than normal, not normal, a little bit longer than just like right now while I'm doing the task, then when I approach it with my tool, I can just push into it nice and neat, and then I won't have track marks on it, or drag marks, I mean, because the drag marks, look at that, I have silk on my finger. The heck. I also realized that personally I'm more interested in, you could tell me if you think different, since I can't speak to each one of you individually. See, that one's stuck already, it doesn't need water. I stopped making videos for a while because I felt like they were just so unprofessional. And this last year, that term has come up for me many times. There was a woman at my old apartment complex that would leave her dog waste out in front of my front door. And I approached her with it and I said, you know, she denied it, first of all, which I knew it was her. I'd seen her do it. And there was dog crap everywhere. And it was out in front of my door mostly. And so she was like upset, and I was like, well, just pick up your dog crap. And she made all these excuses why she couldn't do it. And I said, it's a matter of respect. I said, it's a respect for our environment, it's a respect for our area, and it's respect for where you live and for me. You know, I respect you enough to pick up my dog waste. And so she went and told her brother, and her brother put a letter on our door. And one of the things that they said was that I was unprofessional. And I was like, what the heck? How do you be a professional human? Professionalism is a series of manners and politeness that is definitely more polished than I am. I've never been accused of being unprofessional. But anyway, so she did. She accused me of being unprofessional. I was like, okay, so where can I apply this in my life? And that's why I thought, well, maybe my videos aren't very professional looking. And I see other people do videos, and I just never got into understanding it. I need to know how to do iMovie, and I don't. I know how to use my phone, and I am proficient, if not intermediate, in Photoshop, because I studied it for a lot of years. Anyway, so I stopped making videos, but you know, after some nice feedback last weekend where Jay and I were just talking and just sort of musing on things, I decided that this is it. This is where I'm at. And if I grow and get better at doing videos, then I'll make better videos. But to stop connecting with y'all and stop showing you what I'm doing because somebody put a wound on me. I mean, it wasn't a huge wound, it was an impact, we'll put it that way. Not to be dramatic about it, but somebody said something to me that they called me unprofessional for confronting somebody who was leaving their dog waste. I just felt like our world is screwed up. Why am I acknowledging and behaving and responding to the screwed up mentality? Because she was making excuses and she couldn't own that. She couldn't just stand there and go, you know what, you're right, I'm sorry. I mean, that's all it would have taken. You're right, I'm sorry. Okay, cool, let's move on. And here's another good example. So I made a mistake on an order, and there's two people with the same name, and I shipped the wrong soap to the wrong person. I had a bunch of orders that day, and apparently I wasn't paying attention. So I decided, you know, I'll make it right. You know, she wrote me the nicest email, and she wasn't over flattering. She was sincere. It felt sincere, and she told me what the mistake was. And of course, I'll go above and beyond to fix the situation and pull myself back into integrity. So I sent her, it's in the mail right now, but I fixed it and sent her some new stuff to try. That's all it takes. I have people that attack me. Why? Why would you attack me? I just make soap dough. I'm just a writer and a soap dough maker. I make soap. Why would you attack me? What have I done to deserve an attack? But they do. They attack me and give me all types of grief. I'm not trying to be a victim, and I'm not trying to blame anybody for anything. So, you know, that's the environment I want to live in. So that's what I'm doing. Anyway, so there you go. And I know this is getting pretty long. 20 minutes. Holy cats. Okay, so this is my alcohol sprayer. Let's see right here. And I think it's used for hair salons, but it's somehow, it wasn't very expensive, and I'll put a link for this too. It wasn't very expensive, and when you spray it, I don't know if you can see, let's see here, yeah. It's not this, I didn't like this spray. This, you just squeeze it and it comes out in a nice stream. And it keeps the alcohol more sealed and less evaporation for some reason. So I'll put a link. This is such a great sprayer, and I know it's more expensive than most sprayers. I was like hard pressed to buy it because it's like $11 or something. But it's so worth it. I've had it for at least a year, maybe 2 years. There. See, somebody in another video asked me about it. So I'll put a link up on there. Anyway, I'm gonna ask you a question. If you like what you see or like what you hear, please like and subscribe because it helps me want to make more videos. That's one, great. The other is, if you know of somebody you think would be a fun collaboration, I have a new collaboration coming, and that has the ice cream cones in it, and so far no one's even come close to guessing who it is, which is delightful for me. That's going to be so fun, and there should be a video for that. And if you think of anybody else that you think I should collaborate with, would you leave it in the comments? Because I also need, if you're interested, in reading about other people, other soapers. They could be super public or super not public, it doesn't matter to me, but if you see that they have a passion for what they do and you want to know more about them, I'd be happy to interview them, because I've sort of expanded up into the people that I come across, and now I'm at an impasse. And I need to expand my horizons too, and I can't do that without a little bit of, well, I suppose I could, but it would be great if you could help me. So there you go. Thanks for listening. I know this is a super long video, and I can't really see. There we go. Okay. And I hope this helps with you making your little books, your little soap books. Okay. Bye for now.